Good morning. Hi, my name is Glenn Anderson, Twitter handle Wi-Fi Delio, and I'm your interactive recruiter from Onward Search. And I'm here with
Tim Sullivan. I'm Tim Sullivan. I'm also an interactive recruiter here at Onward Search. My Twitter handle is Sully Onward, and we are looking forward to starting this blog and kind of giving you guys some insight on what's going on out there in the industry and the market.
Absolutely. So we're going to try to do a weekly showcase where we give you guys different information on relatively what's out there. We have a lot of people that are looking for work, or more importantly, people that are already at work and just don't know where to go next. So we're hoping that we'll be a good resource for you. So today's topic we're going to talk about is top places that us recruiters look for resumes/portfolios. For me personally, I will start. I typically like to go on LinkedIn. Actually, it's a large social network. It's building. I remember when LinkedIn first started, there was absolutely no one on there, or it was like, is this Facebook? Is this MySpace? And then MySpace died, and now LinkedIn is huge. So typically when I'm looking for candidates, if I go on LinkedIn, it's more relatively a passive search. I tend to try to friend request you guys. I try to send in-mails. Some of you hate that. Sorry, it's my job. But those of you that respond, we usually have good response time for it. So if you're not on LinkedIn, get on it. Very important.
I think, too, for creative folks, whether you're a designer, graphic designer, visual designer, UX, even developer, really you want to establish yourself as a brand. Whether you're trying to create a portfolio that conveys a message of what you bring to the table, or you just want to showcase your work, for job opportunities, or just to get some recognition and a network and so forth. So I always kind of look at it as two ways you can do it. You can build a website, and that's basically your marketing site where it basically showcases what you bring to the table, problems you solve, how you can basically help your clients. And that's a great way to basically, build your brand and your message, but the problem is how do people find you? And if you're not like an SEO expert or somebody that can, do all that Google AdWords stuff and basically have all your keywords, you're going to have this great portfolio, but no one's going to see it. So I think that is always you always have to have a portfolio. But the reality is, we tell all our designers, especially in creative folks, to utilize what's on the web to showcase your work, to build your network. Glenn talked about LinkedIn, and there are a ton of portfolio websites that you can use that are free. You don't have to code. You basically just use a really pretty template that they give you.
Yeah.
Throw your stuff up on there, and people find you. And then you can actually link that to your website to get some recognition and basically get your name out there. So there's a couple of them that I know we use. I would say, I don't know if you want to hop on this one, but I know the first one we always use is Behance. Behance is like the greatest website. It's like a Facebook meets LinkedIn for the creative.
It's a creative mecca. No, it's awesome. I use Behance a lot. Behance is really good for finding awesome design portfolios. You can narrow down your search by region, by candidates. So when we're looking for you guys, we are looking on Behance. We're looking at the great portfolios. Typically, we try to stay within, to give you an idea of mainly our focus, we typically work within the web and interactive space. So there are a lot of print work out there. There are some print jobs out there, but we typically don't play in that field. So when we're more or less talking specifically on people that have good visual design portfolios.
I mean, there's a lot of folks that, that might be looking for work that have been at one company for a long time and they didn't have time to create a website or don't know how to code and do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but they want a place where they can quickly get their work online and quickly have it updated and basically look nice and functional and clean so that it's accessible, it's fast, it's easy. And really, not just recruiters, but a lot of people in the industry will find you too. I know, other designers network with other designers. Developers that need designers for a project, or vice versa, will network. So it's just a great place to get exposure. Behance for sure. I know there's another one that we use quite a bit.
We use Dribbble.
Dribbble with three B's. Three B's.
Three B's.
Dribbble with 3 B's.
If you do 2 or 1, you might end up on a completely inappropriate site.
But Dribbble is great because it's another one that looks really nice. Like when you put your samples up there, it's got like a very aesthetic, clean, and like modern look. So people are like, wow, that looks really nice.
Yeah.
And also, it's another place where you can basically get in touch with the community around you. I think that's another thing we should mention about Behance and Dribbble is that it's a community. It's not just a place to put your work up there and and people say, "Oh, that looks nice." It's a networking site, really.
Absolutely.
What it's for, and they post jobs on it. They, you can network with old colleagues. So these websites are multifunctional, for sure.
Absolutely. Much like the whole trend nowadays, it's all about personal branding and it's all about building your network. Everything is a dialogue. Everything is a communication back and forth nowadays. So if you're just putting your stuff up there but not providing anything else outside of that, you are going to be a little bit behind the game. So don't expect that you can just put up your portfolio on these sites and then just pretty much do a wait and see technique. Very much we interact with our candidates. So when we go on Behance, when we go on Dribbble, when we go on some of these other sites, it's not just what's in it for me or hey, do this for me. It's not like a hey, what's up? It's more or less, you have awesome work. Let's talk about some of the things you'd like to do. Let's talk about where you want to be. And I think that's really important for you to be aware of. Compliment some of the other people's work. Compliment some of your peers' work. There are so many people in this area, and we're, as a point of reference, we're out of Boston. So that gives you a good idea of some of the market that we're dealing with.
And there's really, from a candidate standpoint, there's no such thing as a passive search. Things aren't just going to kind of land on your plate. If they do, awesome.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you've got to get out there and network, especially I feel in this industry. You got to constantly learn because technology changes, like daily. You know what I mean? Like we try to keep track of it because our clients are always looking for the latest and greatest technology. So it's really important to network and basically, what's going on out there. Be active in the community. So we talked about Dribbble, we talked about Behance.
Coreflot?
Coreflot is a great one too.
Coreflot's awesome.
I would say Coreflot's good. It's not the most easy to navigate, in my opinion, site. It's not that, it doesn't look really pretty, but it gets your stuff up there really quick. They post a ton of jobs on Coreflot, companies.
Yep.
It's great for building, again, it's all about the community, so it's great to network. What I like about it is that there's endless creative fields. There's folks that want to specialize in apparel design, industrial design, UX, visual and graphic design. There's a lot of places to, I guess you could say, search functions from a recruiting standpoint where we can narrow it down and find specific folks that are looking for things.
Absolutely.
So from our standpoint, we find it as a great site to find people. I know from a candidate side, I wouldn't put it at the top of, from a portfolio standpoint in terms of the look. But, it's all about, we talked about getting out there. So
sometimes you gotta
exactly.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta get that information out there, which is always key.
And we'll give you guys all these links if you want to see them too.
Absolutely.
I basically put the post-production through the gauntlet down your feet for that one.
That's totally good enough. This will be immediately edited out now, this whole chunk.
Yeah, exactly.
What I use, honestly, I do good old-fashioned in-URL searches on Google, which was something actually Tim taught me. I will type in URL, interactive and designer and Boston, and sometimes I find some of you guys out there that don't have your work up there on any of these sites or don't want to put any of your work up there or whatever your reason is being. I will do a straight in-URL search. I'll end up finding some of you guys up there, which is awesome. Thank you. I do enjoy the pages that you have that say, recruiters, do not contact me, because then I will still contact you because this is what we have to do.
Yep.
Because, we got to eat. But typically speaking, in-URL searches is really cool too. Outside of that, I mean, honestly, I go on Career Builder. Sometimes I can be a good old-fashioned recruiter. I don't tend to go on Monster as much, which I think not most of you do either. But it's no offense to Monster. I just simply find better candidates on Career Builder. If you're on Career Builder, the one thing I can always recommend is be aware of the format of your resume. Sometimes you guys have really awesome formatted resumes that look really cool, but the minute you parse them into some of these sites, it just turns into mush.
Oh, it gets bad.
It gets really, really bad. Have a cool PDF version of your resume, but have just an old school functional Word version of your resume that you can put up on these sites. Honestly, employers want to see the old-fashioned kind. Unless it's a straight design role, then they want to see the cool portfolio. But outside of that, your resume, the cool typography and 3D and scratch and sniff stickers that are on there, honestly, they just don't translate well once they get onto the web space.
To touch on what Glenn said earlier about searching for resumes online and portfolios through like a Google search or something like that. That's where you have to look at your portfolio as a business. And so many of you guys are successful in freelance, whether it's through your network or folks that find your work and past employers and so forth and past colleagues. But that's where you really got to work on developing your business. you want to have, words like visual designer or interactive designer or UX strategist, to basically, so people can find you. If you're using your tagline as, creative, thinker that's, looking to solve your design problems, the reality is you're not probably going to be found because you're not using, search terms that are common. So that's something that is really important, the SEO aspect of it, so that's where you have to start thinking outside the box in terms of the business standpoint, in terms of, building up your exposure on the web. So,
and to build on this, obviously, like we're talking, we can't tell you guys it's a dialogue and not be that same way ourselves. So this is a dialogue. If there's anything in particular you guys want to know about, we can talk about some of the different topics, like what are those keywords, what are those buzzwords to put in your resume and your portfolio. We can by all means do a video for that. Let us know. So that will be it for today. We will talk about some other subjects as well shortly, and you'll hopefully have some weekly updates from us. But in the meantime, once again, Glenn Anderson, Wi-Fi Delio on Twitter, Interactive Recruiter here at Onward Search.
And I'm Tim Sullivan, Sully Onward, and I am an interactive recruiter at Onward Search as well.